Hey Boyd, still working my way through my backlog of reviews. Now, I mentioned I've been doing streaming things over the weekend, and this is when I streamed. About 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, let's see. That's Class of Nukem High. 1986, Trauma. Obviously Trauma. And I think one of my friends who commented on one of my other reviews for The Toxic Avenger, Trauma gonna be Trauma. And I think that really kind of sums it up. This one, it felt like a divergent point from The Toxic Avenger. Like, the movies were going like this for a second, then just beeline. Because the beginning starts very similar of someone getting irradiated and then jumping out a window. Sounds like The Toxic Avenger, doesn't it? Because they both have a similar scene, but this one the guy just dies. Anyway, so, Class of Nukem High. This one's about a high school that is right near a nuclear power plant. And the power plant keeps insisting that though there's no issues having radiation near the high school, no one's getting it. It's completely safe. Until the honor roll gets then turns into the street punks and begins selling radioactive weed to people, and it spawns monsters, causes the punks to become violent and lash out at everyone else. It's a clusterfuck. And I will say this is not a movie that could be made today. When the punks pretty much get kicked out of school, then grab guns and retake it, it got a little, these days that isn't gonna fly. So yeah, holding this school hostage at gunpoint. Yeah, that's not gonna age as well. But, until the monster that, when the main characters ended up, getting high on atomic weed, had sex, and she gives birth to a monster that mutates and starts going on a killing spree. There's a lot of plot threads in this movie. You got, the honor roll punks that are trying to mess with everyone, in particular the main characters, and are trying to kidnap and torture his girlfriend because they blame him for getting kicked out of school with how they weren't already kicked out at this point. And then there's the monster roaming the halls. Also, this weird sexual tension between the main guy and the main girl. There's a lot going on. And I will say it's not a boring flick, but it's definitely an unfocused one. They pretty much just threw everything at the wall and see what stuck. The gore effects are great, and the monster effects, for what you can see of it, are good. But from what I understand, they actually didn't even build the full thing for it, just the parts you see, which worked. But otherwise, it's a trauma movie. It has all the usual sex, drugs, and rock and roll that a trauma film has. And it's doing trauma very well. It definitely feels like a trauma film, and it's doing what trauma does. I can't say it's a great movie by any means. Uh, for a horror comedy, I can't say it was all that funny these days. It's just like, okay, it's trauma. It's that level of humor. You have to be in the right mood for it. I mean, some things, yeah, I did give a chuckle here or there, but you got the overtop gore, you got a weird sense of humor, and you got over the top characters and weird acting. It's trauma, and that's what trauma do. I don't even know how to rate this. Uh, it's going to be in the middle of the road, just because it's not really bringing anything new. The Toxic Avenger actually at least felt like it was trying to be something more. And with how many sequels it got, it definitely ended up being that way. This one just feels. I've also seen a long time ago the Troma film Surf Nazis Must Die. These are practically the same movies, except for one's a surfers, one's in a high school. It's Troma just doing what Troma does. So, debating between a 4 and a 5. Its effects are good enough, and there's enough going on that you're not going to be bored. I'll give it a 5 MacGuffins. We'll just go with that. Don't know if there's anything else to comment on in this one. Soundtrack's fine. They do have their own theme songs, so I'll give it that. I think that's not too uncommon for Troma films. But it's worth seeing at least once. I've now seen it twice. Alrighty, yeah, that's about it on this one. Good night, everybody.